21335-253 DM. And present in the courtroom is Attorney Zerka, who represents the plaintiff. The defendant appears to oppose her. We also have the GAL Attorney Griffiths by Zoom. Today was set for a review, not for the entire hearing, but for a review. And Attorney Zerka, what is the status of the matter at this time?
Judge, Your Honor, you rendered an opinion back on February 29th of 24, and it was reduced to writing. You signed an order on 3/4 of 24. My client is in compliance with the court order. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if Mr. Renfro is. I did speak with Ms. Griffiths earlier today, and she's not aware that Mr. Renfro is compliant with the court order in regards to the classes that the court required of him. I also, Judge, my client, right after the very first visitation that Mr. Renfro had, it actually was the March 2nd. It was after we left court before the court signed the order on 3/4 that Mr. Renfro had parenting time with the child. And he took the child around the person that he was not supposed to take the child around pursuant to the verbal order of the court and the written order of the court. I did prepare a motion to show cause, but I don't believe it ever got filed because I knew we had this review today and we could address it at that point. So I just don't know if he's in compliance. My client is totally fine with the parenting time reverting back to the judgment of divorce once he's in compliance. So just so the court's aware of that.
Thank you. And Attorney Griffiths, anything that you wanted to add?
Your Honor, I know you have the report that I prepared because, this, it really, that lost parenting time as a result of a referral to seek for the NGA, but he wasn't placed on central registry. All he was asked to do was take a parenting class, and I've asked him to do that as well. And upon completion of that, my recommendation was that he go back to the week on parenting time. But I haven't seen anything that he's completed. I think he has, and just hasn't gotten it to me in report. But once he, finishes with connections, should go back to the week on the child's enjoyed for 2-3 years now.
Thank you, and sir, stand at this podium if you would, please. And Mr. Rockwell, you'll have plenty of time to grab those if you need them, so let me ask you to stand with me. And raise your right hand to be placed on our vote. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
You may put your hand down. Tell me your full name.
Christopher Allen Renfro,
Tell me your home address.
2266 East Williamson Street, Breckenridge, 45.
That is your home and your mailing address?
Yes.
Mr. Renfro, you are intending to continue to represent yourself, true?
Yes.
I want to understand that you always have the right to do that, but you also have the right to be represented by an attorney if you chose to be represented. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And that can happen at any time if that's what you choose or not choose. Understood? And Mr. Renfro, the order that was in place and dated March 4th is the order that's out for review today. Have you been seeing your child?
Yes.
When have you been seeing, I believe it's a son, is that right?
Yes.
How old is your son?
9.
How frequently have you been seeing your child?
It's Tuesdays and overnights on Saturdays.
That parenting time has been taking place as I had previously ordered, is that true?
Yes.
Did you pick the child up from school?
Yes, but it's been spring break and he was sick. So, I picked him up.
Have you made other arrangements when it was spring break and when he was ill?
Yes.
How do you make those arrangements?
Normally, I'm on the way to Kelly's job, so she brings him right over.
Are you guys texting one another or calling one
Text.
another? And Mr. Renfro, how has that parenting time gone with the child?
It's going great.
The parenting time is exercised at that Williamson Street address that you gave.
Yes.
And Mr. Renfro, the order provided that you were to engage in and complete a parenting time class at Connections. Have you done that?
I made I'm signed up for it.
you know when they'll start?
April,
Do you know how long the class will be for?
it's a month and 2 weeks, and,
Is it once a week?
it's once a week for 2 hours.
And, I apologize, I interrupted you, go ahead.
Yeah, it's 2 hours each time, once a week.
And your intention is to start on the date that they gave you, true? And tell me again when that starts?
It's April 9th, like we were.
And Mr. Renfro, with respect to the order that was taking place, the order also indicated that there was to be a co-parenting class. Has that started yet, or has it not started?
So, it has not, actually, the classes are joined together. It takes care of both.
So it's one class?
And I kind of felt like the orders were a little biased, as long, I also felt like the investigation by Julie Griffith was biased. There was allegations made, abuse, what you guys did your investigation. But I made allegations of drug abuse, not one drug test, nothing.
And then, Mr. Renfro, the concern that I want to address in total incorporates not only your concerns, but, you know, about her concerns about you, what the GAL may or may not have said. My focus for today is to get you back to week on, week off as quickly as possible within what the court ordered. You understand that?
Well, I'm hoping that happens today, because I've been taking it seriously, I show up every time,
And I don't doubt that you are, and quite frankly, Mr. Renfro, I give you credit, I think you've come a long way, in a good way, to, you know, know this doesn't happen as quickly as you would like. But tell me again, how many weeks do you anticipate this class being in
It's
connection?
a 6-week program.
Once a week, 2 hours at a time?
Yes.
And, the, completion of that program, there's really nothing that will stop it from happening within 6 weeks, is there?
Sorry, what was the question?
You'll be attending once a week, is that true?
Yes.
Do you know what day of the week that'll be taking place?
I believe it was Tuesdays.
Is it evening?
Yes.
Are you employed?
I don't know business.
And so there won't be a work interference with what you need to do for this connection class, true?
I'll be true.
And Mr. Renfro, with respect to completion of those classes and the parenting time that you have, the parenting time that you've had with your son has been fine, is that fair to say?
Yes.
There was how long of a period of time went by that you hadn't seen him?
It's been, 6 months.
Right. And then when did you begin seeing him? Was it in conjunction with this March 2nd date? So that was the first time you'd seen him in a long time. Had you been speaking to him?
I've been trying.
And had that literally been happening or not happening?
Phone calls and visitations withheld, so I was not able to speak to him.
When you did see him as I had ordered, how did it go as soon as, well, the first time?
Back to normal, we're able to co-parent a lot better. It's good.
He has his own space or own room in your home?
Yes.
And I know I probably asked you this before, but do you have other children?
No.
Just this young man?
Yes.
The concern with respect to Ms. Lysell, is she living with you
Time to time, yeah, she lives with me, she takes off
when he's there? Right.
I did, so me and my son went and grabbed breakfast one morning, and I did take Tara, my leftovers, we went to see her for a minute, but also my son, he knows it, so he wanted to also, and it was a 10-minute visit, dropped off food, and that's it.
When your son is with you, you are making sure that Ms. Lysell is not present, is that true?
Yes.
And is she still working through whatever issue she was having? I believe you told me it was Judge LaChan, is that right? Was it she in drug court or something, did you tell me?
It's the, mental health board, so,
Okay, so, as far as you know, Ms. Lysell is doing what she needs to do through Judge Markey?
she's kind of the star of the place, she's doing really well.
The order with respect to her presence, I'm not gonna find that you violated it by her seeing you, but you must continue to do what you've done, which is have her not present when your son is with you. You understand that? And Mr. Renfro, what I'm gonna do is set this as soon as that class will be over, because my goal would be as well, upon successful completion, week on, week off, what you had, just return. You understand that? And, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, did, for your class, completed, college students?
I'm about to address that. Did you have any other questions for me at this point?
So, when this started, I informed people that some US codes.
That what?
I've informed people of some US codes that this case, was similar to. You know, I'm a religious man, spiritual, more than religious, but very spiritual. I've raised my son since, yeah, been there, never missed any time. Taking care of my family, even though it got toxic between me and Kelly. There was reasons. I'm not just some guy that blows up whenever he feels like, you know, so trying to communicate about things that weren't communicated back or just more. So it's, I understand she has the right to whatever life she wants. That's her right. So if she wants to be malevolent and hurt or do whatever she wants to do, that's her choice. She shouldn't be able to use these courts as leverage. She shouldn't be able to use these courts to manipulate her. And that's what she has done. I did discipline my son, but come on, we all seen the photo, I know you guys did. That was not grounds for removal. And because my son was forced from me September 14th at 2:40 p.m., that fell under grounds of genocide. 18 U.S.C. 1091 are placed on section 6 and transferred by force, children of one group to another. And I've let people know. And nobody stopped, nobody stepped in the middle. Everybody's connected. This is the violation of Rule 8.3, reporting professional misconduct from the lawyer, both lawyers. I will let everybody know. You know, and we all know words talk, so I'm sure everybody heard. Frauds and swindles, 18 U.S.C. 1341. Has any trust been administered or any bonds been made during this case?
To be honest, I don't even know what you're asking me.
Well, so monopolization of the rights, due process, I've never received due process. It was brought in and put straight to guardian ad litem. And I appreciate the federal funding. But it's, this is the thing, my family has endured harm and injury, right? Pain and suffering. And I don't take well to it.
Mr. Redford, let me try to answer what you asked. If you're saying a bond, from a legal standpoint, I know what a bond means. Nobody's paid a bond, I've never ordered a bond to be paid. Hopefully you've been here enough to see that among the, I think it's more than 10,000 active cases that I have, every single case I have is treated exactly the same. You know, what you reference, you know, I don't know what it feels like to be on your side of the courtroom. I'm sure it's not pleasant at times, but I hope that you recognize, even with whatever concerns you've raised, whatever concerns with respect to protective services or repairs and so forth, that I acknowledge, I recognize you when you come to court. I let you speak and represent yourself, the way that you want, which is fine with me. And quite frankly, you've done more in a bad situation than most people that come in front of you. And I know that doesn't undo what happened in September, but I would just ask you to, for this short period of time until that class is done, my goal is to get you back to week on, week off. And even the order from March, just a month ago, today, quite frankly, to me is great progress. I'm pleased that we're at this point. I'm glad that you got to see your son. I'm glad that you feel that things are going well with your son, and I don't doubt that they are. I just want to make sure that you stay focused on that. Whatever other concerns you have, I'm not downplaying at all. I know you can talk about religion, which I can from this bench. I can't mix those two topics with one another. But I'm not going to stop you from saying part of what you're addressing with me is religious belief. Isn't that fair to say? which is, you know, which is fine, it's your right to address it in that way. What I wanna get to is this, I'm literally gonna set this in 6 weeks to say, my goal is that you have that class completed, and there's going to be a return to what you want. I'm sure what you'd say your son would want as well, which is a return to that prior order. And what I can tell you is that I have the authority, in this case has been a good example of it, where I can incrementally, with ongoing jurisdiction, give you more time, direct you to do a class, give you overnights, all the things that I've done so far. Even though you're not a lawyer, I know that you read the law and read things, which is fine, you know, kind of fixing religion and law, which I can't do. But you've done more than, quite frankly, a lot of people in your position. And I see a lot of people in this position, as you can imagine. And I would just implore you to stay focused to get through this, because the end result is not far off. And the end result should be the order. How long was it in place that you had week on, week off time? Prior to September of 23, how long had you been exercising week on, week off time with your child?
Year and a half, 2 years.
Was that from a time of separation from Ms. Shaheen?
It took a little bit to get it, but no, he was named for me before.
But then it did get to week on, week off, true? You were getting the young man to and from school?
Yes.
How's he do as a student?
He loved school, the teachers loved him.
What grade, is he a fourth grader?
No, he's second, going with her.
I apologize, how old is he? Is he behind in school?
We held him back years ago.
I think I've asked you this before, haven't I? But he's doing well, true?
Yes.
And sir, have a seat there for just a moment, if you would please. Ms. Shaheen, stand at that point, if you would please. And Ms. Shaheen, raise your right hand if you would speak this in oath. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give should be the truth?
Yes.
You may put your hand up. Tell me your full name.
Kelly Marie Shaheen?
Ms. Shaheen, the minor child that you and Mr. Renfro have in common is 9 years old.
Correct.
What's his date of birth?
12/31/14.
He attends Bendel schools.
Davison.
Oh, I think it was Bendel.
That's the meat point.
Okay, that's the meeting point. I apologize. And what grade is he in?
Second.
Has he always attended Davison School?
Yes.
How's he doing this school year?
He's doing really well.
He's 1 year behind.
Correct.
Was he held back by the school or by you as a parent?
We all met together and made the decision as a whole.
Was I believe Mr. Renfro testified he was a part of that also.
He was
What grade was that?
first.
So he repeated first grade.
Correct.
He's now back where he needs to be.
Yes.
He's within an age range that the Davidson schools obviously feel it's appropriate for him to be in the grade that he's in.
Yes.
And Ms. Shaheen, the order that's in place now that I entered in March has been followed. You've done what I directed. Is that true?
Yes.
The parenting time has taken place. Is that true?
Yes.
Have you evaluated whether or not this class with connections that I labeled the order labeled as co-parenting? Did you make any contacts about that?
I did, and I spoke to a lady at Connections. She said they did not offer an actual co-parenting class, so I went and took a 4-hour course, online through, Parent Education and Family Stabilization.
Is that a co-parenting type of class? Is that what
It
you-
is, yes.
And where did you do that, or how did you do that?
Online?
And if I directed you to provide Mr. Renfro with that information, I would presume you'd be happy to give that to him?
Absolutely.
You've already completed that?
I did.
Was it 1 4-hour session?
Yes, you could do a 4-hour, 6-hour, or I think even 8.
Did you do it all at once?
No, I took little breaks because of work.
But it's a 4-hour class?
Yes,
Okay. And so what you did is over a period of time, observed all 4 hours, completed whatever work they had to complete, and you got the certificate that was provided to you?
yes.
How did you find that class?
I just went online and researched with the help of my sister, who's a social worker.
At Connections, they told you that they don't have a specific class for that?
Correct.
And then, since this order's been entered, Since the order was entered, and I lost my train of thought. In active actions, did they give you this information, or they simply told you they don't have a co-parenting type of class?
That they just said they don't offer a co-parenting class.
And so you proactively tried to do something
Correct.
to satisfy this provision of the order, is that right?
Yes.
The communicate, and this was where I was at when the door opened there. Have you and Mr. Renfro had to communicate with one another since March?
Yes.
Are you doing it by text, by email, by voice? or-
Mostly text.
And the child's been, transported to him, transported back to you without issue, is that fair to say?
Yes, I normally do the transportation to and from, but yes.
And, Ms. Renfro, my understanding is that the protective services issue is behind this, is that fair to say?
As far as I know, yes.
Are you employed?
I am.
Where are you employed?
To the family.
Do you have any other children?
I have one.
How old's the other child?
16.
And, that child lives with you?
Yes.
Is that child a student at Davidson School?
Yes.
How's that child doing?
Wonderful.
Is it a boy or a girl?
Girl.
And, she's a sophomore at Davidson?
She is.
And Ms. Renfro, any other information that you had, I will acknowledge, I saw your, where handing something, it was that certificate, is that?
Yes.
Is that what you brought for today, you wanted me to know that?
Well, yes, yes.
Have a seat there if you would. Attorney Zerka, any response or anything you wanted to address based on what Mr. Renfro had addressed?
Nothing, I would just suggest, Judge, that I'm satisfied that should in 6 weeks he provide me with that completion certificate, that I can do a stipulated order reinstate the sheriff without bothering the court any further with it. If the court would rather keep eyes on it, that's fine as well. So either way the court wants to go, it's fine.
And, Counsel, I'm gonna set a 6-week date, Mr. Renfro, I'm gonna set a 6-week date, what the attorney is asking and willing to do. When you complete that class, provide the proof of completion, and the attorney's indicated he'll draft an order by stipulation reinstating your week on, week off parenting time, and you wouldn't need to appear before the court, you understand that?
Yes. Honestly, I want to be in the court.
And in that, Mr. Renfro, that's fine, I mean, the final completion of this is fine, I don't have a problem.
These classes are supposed to be educational purposes. Being coerced into these classes to get my son back. I am willing to be trustworthy and honest and do these classes, the 4-hour class sounds great. If I only gotta do one, because I would be biased if I had to do any more at this point. I've only shown, that I'm a good man and I'm here, I'm a lawyer.
I'm gonna bring you back at the end of that 6 weeks, and I'll tell you why, Mr. Renfro, that, and I think I told you this before, this is my 22nd year as a judge. For where you were at when you first walked in this courtroom to where you're at today, the orders that I enter, I know that you said coercion, and I'm not gonna, your views, all those things are fine. I don't mind at all, you're referencing what you reference and the religious stuff I've told you about. But the orders that I enter, I wouldn't use the word coercion, but I'm not you. So if that's the word you feel like you want to use, it doesn't necessarily bother me, but that's a court order. Do you understand that?
Yeah, and I understand there's no court seal on it either, so I don't understand the power behind it, because the courts aren't back.
The courts aren't what?
Aren't back in the order.
But the order that I've entered,
They're from administrative capacity.
the orders that I've entered though, what you've done is gain back the ability within a very short period of time to get back to what you want, which I'm fine with, and I give Shaheen a lot of credit that she's willing to say, that's fine, we'll go back to that. So just don't lose sight of that, because if, and I won't even say if, when you complete this, Mr. Renfro, you're not the only person who comes into this courtroom probably to say you don't trust the system is a dramatic understatement, right? To trust this process. That's fine, but you've done more than anybody else who's walked in here feeling that way than I can tell you in recent memory. And that's a compliment. It may not feel like a compliment, but it is. I would just ask you to kind of hold the line here, get through that class, and you will be I won't say very first, but less than 10 people have done what you've done and completed what the court's ordered and gotten back to just where you want to be with your son. And that's something that to me is very important. How old are you? 34. And I ask all those questions because your case is one that's memorable to me for many reasons. In part, that's compliment to you. In part, that's compliment to Mr. Shaheen. Attorney Zerka knows exactly what he's doing to represent his clients. But this case is unique. It's unique right now in a good way. And I would like this unique case to end with just some normalcy to it, which is getting back to where you were with your son. And we're not far from that. You understand that? And Mr. Shaheen, I recognize and appreciate what you've done as well. I know this has not been easy, but I feel like we're not far off from completing that course, entering an order. I will give you a 6-week date that my secretary will give here in just a moment. And Mr. Renfro, if your desires to be present, that's fine. If you want to sign an order prior to that, that's fine too. But I'll set a control date that will give you time to complete that class. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do want my son as soon as possible, so I will be doing classes and getting the order made, but I would like to come back in because, like I said before, I will be seeking up the ladder, and I don't want to have to go up the ladder. I don't want anybody to, you know.
Do you think you can complete the class sooner than 6 weeks?
I mean, we have a 4-hour class.
No, yeah, in addition, and I would absolutely allow you to do the same 4-hour class with respect to the co-parenting, just do it online. Counsel, I'm sure you can share the information.
That's fine, right?
What I'm asking is the connections class, do you know, can you complete it sooner than that?
It's a 6-week class.
Okay, so it has to be 6 weeks. So we give you, and it starts the 12th?
Well, no, 9th.
I apologize.
April 9th.
April 9th, right. So we'll set a date 6 weeks after that, the goal being that you have a completion certificate in hand when you return, with the goal of returning you to week on, week off parenting time, understood? Right, and we'll set that date will be,
May 20 at 3 p.m.
It'll have to be for the, what did you say?
The 9th,
May
Oh,
20th.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
yeah, May 20,
Oh,
So it'll be 6 weeks.
that would be 6 weeks.
And the time will be
3 p.m.
3 p.m. And Attorney Zerka, anything further?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Shaheen, do you have any questions at all?
No.
Sir, do you have any questions for me today? Make sure that you receive that information about the 4-hour class as well, just so it's crystal clear. 4-hour class, completion of connection, May 20th for the return, understand?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver.
Good day.